Yes, we have Global Ceezy. What's going on?
How you doing, brother?
I'm
Is
doing
my
good. And
audio
you?
good? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's it. All right. Yeah, we good, man. Um, Thank you for having me on the channel. Shout out to you for having 100K. Shout out to you for making it out, inspiring the youth.
Thank you. So I appreciate shout out to you as well. Shout out to you as well for your extensive travels and getting out as well. So and being a successful YouTuber. So would you tell everybody who you are, what you do, and where you're from?
Yeah, so I would say I'm a content creator. I'm
Uh-huh.
from Boston, Mass, USA, and I do vlogs. A lot of people know me for somebody said global victim. I do vlogs. I do videos kind of explaining what life is like in different places, in different cultures, and just showing my experiences.
Okay. And how old are you?
I'm 22 right now.
22. Amazing. Amazing. And when did you first leave the States?
I first left the States in 2021.
Okay.
Like first time I was going to London. I was actually doing a music show, and I was a vlogger, and I did music, and I had somebody book me for a show. And when I went to London, I realized overseas was like just 10 times more love, 10 times more freedom. You don't have to worry about social media. You don't have to worry about egos and stuff like that, gun crime in places like those. And that's when I realized I had to make it official and like stay out there long term and make that happen.
Okay, okay. And to get a little personal, people know that I travel because I'm a content creator. Where do you get your income to travel, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so I get my income from content creation,
Hmm.
uh, TikTok, YouTube, Patreon, those three platforms mainly.
Okay, okay. So you put up a video, I believe. Well, I reviewed it back in January when I was in Paraguay, and you stated that Brazil was not a place suitable for black men, or it was no love in Brazil. At the time, I disagreed with you. I could say I still disagree with you, but we'll get into that. There's Brazil is different in every city. I think you said South America was a war zone as well. I would tell you
Yeah,
that South America is different country by country because if you go to Uruguay, it's the furthest thing from a war zone. Like you can go to the ATM late at night and pretty much walk around with the cash in your hand if you're in Montevideo and probably Punta del Este as well. But we'll get into that further. So, to address that, can you elaborate on the experiences you had when you were in Rio and I believe you were in Salvador as well that led you to believe that Brazil was not suitable for black men?
yeah. So when I made that video, it was about Rio. Like I said,
Okay.
Rio wasn't for black men because of like just the vibes I got as a black man, and like me being aware of my surroundings and seeing what position black people were in. You know,
Okay.
like people were like bus boys working at the supermarkets and stuff like that, and I just felt a lot of uncomfortable looks from white Brazilians and stuff like that. But then it was weird because like at first it was that, and then it became like weird looks from black people out there, and the
Mm-hmm.
white people were showing me more love. So it was kind of like two polar opposites over time. And then you seen that video, and you actually told me to go to Salvador. You commented go to Salvador, so I had planned to go to Salvador, and I went there, and it was a different vibe. I ain't gonna lie. Salvador is a whole different vibe. I think it's more suitable for blacks. I did feel more comfortable. They say it's the most dangerous in Brazil, but I didn't really feel in danger as much as like Rio. Rio
Mm-hmm.
kind of felt like, I don't know, like the Wild Wild West a little bit. But the South America is a war zone thing. I don't think it's a war zone because like even Rio, even Salvador, there's beautiful parts, there's suburbs, all that. I would say like Rio is a war zone though. I would say certain parts of Colombia are war zones, but not the whole South America, you know.
I
But
would
that's the
agree.
main place you guys go to.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Other thing. Yeah, I would agree with you. Most of the places that we go to are indeed war zones, like Medellin, Cartagena, Rio. Rio is very unpredictable when it comes to danger. That's why I think you said in Salvador you didn't feel unsafe, because in Salvador it's you pretty much know where you shouldn't be at. Versus Rio, it could be nice, then it could be dangerous. In a matter of 5 minutes, it seems like it can change like that. And
Yeah.
it's more tourists, it's more foreign tourists in Rio than Salvador. So I think they target a lot more. But Rio has always been known to be dangerous. But like you said, Salvador is more dangerous than Rio. So you said in Rio, you've seen a lot of black people that were bus boys, and you got some looks from black people, other black people. What can you describe those looks you were getting and what you think they were thinking?
Yeah. So like me going to Rio, you could say I was a little green, but like I was like walking in the supermarket and then every black person just like black women and stuff like that just staring at me with like some weird dirty looks. But like I had a white friend with me. He was from France. He's not white, but like they think he's white. Like he was just telling me like people don't like people looking at me like I'm so out of the norm because like a black man walking around dressing a certain way, walking around certain areas in Rio, eating at certain restaurants, it doesn't really exist, you know? It doesn't really make sense to people. And they might think you cocky, they might think I don't know what's going through their head, but it's just you kind of like a fish out of water out there.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
would
bottom.
agree. I think the systematic racism is a lot stronger in Brazil, where you do look out of place for being in. You could eat in the same places in Leblon that usually blacks from Rio couldn't do. So I could agree with that. I didn't experience that in Rio, or at least I didn't notice it, or Salvador, or Recife. But when I got to Sao Paulo, I did start to notice how other, not men, but black women, like you said, kind of looked at you with a dirty look, or it looks like, I don't know how to describe that look that they're giving you, but it looks like like you're almost like they're a white person, like looking at a racist white person looking at a black person, and I'm like, what the hell are they looking like that for? Like, it goes back to that whitening the skin that they have in South America, where they were taught that black men, or they weren't even taught, I guess it's real because they limited their opportunities, that black men pretty much weren't good enough, and they had the same propaganda about black men. I guess they don't know how to differentiate that between you and the locals. So what would you say is how do you define a place being suitable for black men?
I would say being suitable. It depends because every black man is different. You know, like there's educated black men, there's black men from poverty, there's black men from Africa, there's black men from France. So it depends. You know, if you speak English, you're gonna get a different experience. If you don't, and you're African or something like that, you're gonna get a different experience. So I would say, for me, I like places where me being in Asia right now, I kind of value more places where there's not black men at because like not because of a bad reason, but like I just like the factor of being able to set that first example. You know, a lot of places there's bad examples for black men, as we know, and like I feel that's a lot of places that black men frequent, like Colombia, Medellin, Cartagena. They have kind of a weird stigma for us, but
Mhm.
that's like They tolerate us the most, though. That's the thing. A lot of those places tolerate black men a lot. So I would feel like it depends on who you are as a black man.
So you think there's a bad reputation we have, regardless of where we come from in Latin America?
I wouldn't say a bad reputation, but I can only speak from my perspective. Like in Latin America, certain places, like in Rio and Salvador, white Brazilians showed me more love. But I would say it depends. I don't really know.
Give me an example when you experienced discrimination in Brazil.
In Brazil, I would say there was one instance I actually recorded it, but my phone got stolen out there. There was one instance where I was in a restaurant with my friend from France, and it was like they treated me like I was his butler or something like that. It was like they ignored me. They didn't serve. We were there for like 45 minutes. They served him. They took his order. They never came up to me. They never looked at me. They never even asked me if I wanted some food. They wanted to like. They expected him to like speak for me, and they I actually confronted them. And then the girl looked like she was about to cry. She looked like she was embarrassed. She tried to apologize, give me free food and stuff like that. And it was like, I guess she saw me recording, so like she tried to like make up for it and stuff like that. And she said she assumed he didn't speak the language, but I'm like, you didn't even ask me if I wanted something. You didn't even look at me. So it was kind of, I wasn't mad. It was just like, wow, this is really happening right now. And that was a common theme out there.
Do you think a lot of Americans that go to Rio have that same experience?
I
A
wouldn't
lot of
say
Black
that.
Americans.
I wouldn't say that. I feel like for me, as a 22-year-old, they kind of look at you like, well, they kind of look at me like I'm from the favela. Like older black guys and stuff like that, it's kind of obvious that you're not from Rio, you know? It's kind of obvious you're not Brazilian. For me, it was like they look at me like I'm straight from the favela. So it's like, how the fuck did he get here? You know?
Okay, so would you say, if would you say that it's something that you could do to yourself to change that experience?
Of course, just be in different areas, you know, uh, just carry myself a little different. You know, that's what I did when I went to Salvador. Just carried myself a little different, you know.
Okay, so the way you carry yourself. Okay, so uh, what experience did you have in Brazil that made you just be like, okay, you want to label it? You had your mind set on what you thought about Brazil. Like, what experience did you have that solidified your stance on it?
Just the overall experience and the vibe, you know, and just being around locals and the stories they were telling me and stuff, and just the energy they were giving me, like it was just, it was kind of, it's kind of graphic, you know, being around older Brazilians. They always got you. They always got a horror story to tell you. They always telling you not to go out. They always telling you don't do this. They look at you crazy for walking around. They look at you crazy for going certain places, going to certain events. You know, I was staying with locals when I was out there, locals in guest houses and stuff like that, older Brazilians, and it was kind of every time I left the house, they were putting like fear in my mind. And I wouldn't say it's that extreme, but I would say like if the locals all feel like this place is dangerous and they've been here for years and they see how the people move and stuff like that, why am I here?
Mhm.
I can gringo tourist.
Interesting. Interesting. So, what were you thinking of? What was your expectations of Brazil when you first got there?
All right, so a lot of us we romanticize Brazil because of the Rio beach scene. But like outside of that, and like the music culture and the party and the girls, all we know about Brazil is favelas and AK-47s and shit like that. So that's when I realized, okay, this is the real Brazil. You know, when you see them favelas, when you driving on the highway from the airport, and you see how real it is. When you go up in a local neighborhood and you see like this ain't no this ain't paradise, you know. But I wasn't really expecting much, to be honest. I didn't really watch no much videos because you can't really get the grasp of how the place is before you go there, especially not Brazil. That's a whole different world. So I would just say I just went in there with an open mind.
So, one thing I disagree with what you just said is that we know Brazil for the beauty and all that kind of stuff in Rio, but being from the United States, it seems like most people think when they think of Brazil, they do think of the favelas and not the beaches. Because when I was telling people I was going to Brazil the first time, they kill Americans down there, or you need to get your casket ready. Like that's what I was hearing before I was going. But we have a couple questions on super chats with you. I stay having blue balls sent $5. So Austin, I was at the IHOP after I finished eating. I left as I held the door open for women coming in. She said, "You need to stop harassing women." That sounds about right. That's why I'm not over here, man. IHOP is only in the States. I won't have that experience. That's how I know it was in the States. But thank you for the super chat. I would never have to deal with that kind of stuff again, at least not yet. Anonymous said $10. So you have traveled so extensively and at a high level. How many countries have you been to? Confess you're a trust fund baby and your parents are helping you. Otherwise, how do you do it at such level at 22? He did say content creation.
Yeah, I'm just a regular guy, man. I don't know if you want me to tell you I'm a trust fund baby. A lot of people say that. A lot of people say I'm a drug dealer. I'm just a regular guy hustling, trying to make something happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the super chat. But so do you think that the role of socioeconomic factors do you think that plays a role in your assessment of Brazil for black men? Like,
Yeah, like
yeah.
just paying attention to the environment, you can tell that most people my age in our demographic are not educated. Maybe I don't know if they're working or what, but like, especially in Salvador, I seen that a lot in Salvador. Like, there's a lot of black people my age, and it's like, you can tell they're not educated. You can tell like, there's just no hope. There's no income. There's no like, in America, we're very privileged. Like, me and you, we come from good families. We have good education. We have good opportunities. I don't think they have that in Brazil. And everyone knows that. So you're kind of looked down upon as a black youth, which makes
Okay.
crime, which makes a lot of stuff, you know.
Okay. So you said that you were treated better in Salvador, though, right?
I wouldn't say I was treated better. I would say like I blended in more and just kind of like stayed out the way more.
So you think it's better? Brazil might be better for black men where there are already a lot of black people.
I wouldn't really say that. I'm really an introvert, so I didn't really like all the attention in Rio, but it was cool. Rio was more of a international vibe, you know. Salvador, I would say if you're retired or like you speak Portuguese, Salvador. But if you don't speak Portuguese as well, I would say Rio.
I would agree. So, how does Brazil compare to other countries you've been to as far as racial dynamics? You said that you didn't want to be in a place where it's a lot of us already. So you think you're not discriminated in Asia?
Nah, you are in Asia, but it's not systematic. Brazil, it was systematic, so it's like it's an uphill battle sometimes. Like just the public perception, going certain places, you know. But it's not hard to ignore anywhere, to be honest. But if you're paying attention, if you're solo traveling, you're kind of like more you're kind of more vulnerable to people's opinions. But when you're with another person, it really doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
So do you think that if you wanted to, the woman's family would accept you more if she was Japanese or if she was Brazilian?
Uh, I would say Brazilian.
Okay.
Say Brazilian.
So you do think you think you probably don't experience discrimination in Asia on a day to day, but when you go to that part, you think you would.
Yeah, just knowing the mindset of Asian people and Asian families, they're very kind of stuck in traditional racism. It
Okay.
really has justification for it.
So based off your experience, what advice would you give to black men that want to move to Brazil?
I would say you need to learn the language. I would say have resources. I would say try it out before you move there. And I would say learn the culture and not just distract yourself with women and pay attention to your surroundings at all time. Keep your head on a swivel.
Okay. So despite your experiences, because it sounds like you didn't have the best experience in Brazil, what is one of the most positive experiences you had in Brazil?
Brazil. I did appreciate the culture. Like, I love the culture. Like, I'm not too familiar with it, but I do appreciate the culture from the outside looking in, how inclusive it is and how friendly people are, you know?
Okay. Okay. So how do you think that Brazilians view Black Americans versus the locals?
I would say they don't really know much about Black Americans. I
Really?
don't think people expect you to be from America when you're there. You know, as much as in Colombia they automatically know you're American everywhere you go. Like not everywhere, but they're used to Americans coming in. Brazil, I don't think American people go there much, you know, so they're not thinking America.
Okay. Okay. So what cultural aspects of Brazil did you find challenging to navigate because you were Black?
Uh, I wouldn't say any because I'm Black, but learning the language did take a little time. It did take a little time, you know, but I wouldn't say any cultural
Okay.
difference.
So how did people react to the video that you posted about Brazil not being good? What is some feedback you got from that video?
Uh, Mainly on TikTok. I had a few videos blow up on TikTok talking about my experience in Rio, and a lot of people kind of agreed how a lot of Latinos kind of said, yeah, we do like look at Americans like y'all are privileged and stuff like that. We do kind of envy gringos, you know, and a lot of Americans, you know, the pride, especially a lot of older Black guys, they got this pride thing where they think everybody just loves us. They think, oh, it's you, it's you. when I'm just speaking my experience, it's not really a big deal. You know, I just tell it like it is from my experience. You know, a lot of people think I'm just being negative when really, like, people think I'm a victim. I'm a winner. I'm just a winner. I'm just telling you the real journey. You know, it takes a lot to travel. It takes a lot to be out here in these places. It's not just peaches and cream.
Okay, so did you link with any other expats you were in while you were in Brazil? Any other black expats?
Yeah, I did. I did in
What
Rio.
What was their opinion on your viewpoint of Brazil?
They didn't really experience that with me because, like, when you're with someone as a black man in these places, it's a whole different experience. But when you're alone, it's kind of like you pay attention to everybody around you. You kind of pay attention to more things. When you're with someone, it's kind of like y'all just having fun, y'all enjoying the place, you know. But outside of that, that's when I kind of realized what was going on. Like when you first get there, it's kind of bliss. You on the beach, you looking at the views, the nature. So when I kind of delved into real Brazil, I feel like there's two sides of Brazil that I've seen. I was in the suburbs where it was cool, it was peaceful, and then I seen like the favela side, like the local, lower class people, and it was a whole different vibe there as well.
Okay, okay. We don't need to ask you that question. So, how do you think? Do you think that Brazil could fix this at some point to be better for Black American men, in your opinion?
I don't think they want to, like, and I've heard this from other people. Brazil doesn't really want to diversify. They don't really want to, you know. There's actually a movie called. It's kind of I forgot what it was called. It's kind of like a concept of where Brazil sent every black person back to America instead of like bettering the society, Africa. They had a movie where they sent every black person back to Africa instead of bettering the society, even if you have one drop of black. So that kind of tells you how they kind of think over there, you know?
Well, from what I know, Brazil is very mixed in. I don't think that actually happened.
Nah, it's a concept. It's
Oh, it's a
a movie
concept.
concept. Yeah.
Okay. Because from what I seen was they, instead of them wanting to, like in the United States, they chose to segregate, and we were able to become pro-black because of that. They just use the system. Most of Latin America really just use the system of mix in with us, and if you're not mixed in with us, you're beneath us.
Yeah.
Which I believe that's what really happened. But I haven't seen that movie. I had to check out that movie. So, did you ever get any support from any local Brazilians when you dealt with these issues? Did anybody try to help you that was from Brazil?
Yeah. That's where kind of like, that's what kind of drove me to put that type of content out. You know, people wanted me to, like, I was staying with this older Brazilian lady, and like, as soon as she met me, cause I met her through my white friend, but as soon as she met me and like, she realized like I'm black, she kind of just told me like the history of this place, the history of that place. She told me all the injustices. She told me kind of just how they view. She's not even black like us. She's more like light skinned, but there she's black. She kind of told me how they treat her, and it was kind of like it kind of made me feel like just the fairy tale shit just went away after that. You know, just the pain that she felt and the anger she had for her own country. So when she did show me that love, I felt like it was my duty to come out and say certain things.
So rate your experience on rate your viewpoint on Brazil, 10 being the best.
I would say Brazil is not for me. I would say I would give it a 7 because like I do love the party vibe there, but other than that, it's not really for me at this age, at this age, in life.
So, how has Brazil influenced your content and your future travel plans? Like, how has you said you want to speak more about that in your content? I've seen that on your content. And do you pick and choose, or do you study the history of places before you go there now?
Yeah, I do study the history a lot of everywhere, but I would say after Brazil, it kind of really opened my eyes to that world, like South America and just what's going on out there. It kind of opened my eyes to that and made me realize these ain't really tourist places, you know? These ain't really tourist places. Like,
Okay, go ahead.
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What would you rate Brazil overall? And like, just give us a synopsis of your Brazil mindset versus back when you were making the videos with Fred, because that's what
First,
we know about Brazil, and like that's what I knew about Brazil, about when you were making those videos, just talking about the culture, the woman.
first, I would say it was a 10 when I first started. It's still my favorite country so far. I still would give it a 9, or even a 9.5. I think I only shaved off a half a point or a point because of how different Sao Paulo is. But even with Sao Paulo, I would rate it on a Brazil scale, not a worldwide scale, but on a Brazil scale. Out of the 4 cities I've been to, I would give it a 7. Sao Paulo, but my last experience in other places, I still rate them a 10.
Okay.
Because I've ran into some of the stuff that you're talking about, but not at the magnitude that you're talking. Like honestly, I think I would stay here in Brazil if I was not a content creator. Like I wouldn't even go to Europe next, but I'm doing that for work. So where do you feel black men are treated the best?
Shit. I feel like I'm the wrong person to ask because I'm not just a black man. I'm me. I'm a content creator. I have different purposes for going certain places. You know, I'm. I don't know. I don't know. Where would you say black men are most accepted at?
Kenya.
Okay.
No issues at all when it came to race there. Introvert Max has sent $10 for sending respect. Thank you very much for the £10 super chat. And Ismail sent $5 for Ceezy is the best on telling the truth about a place. He's just nervous on this live. He's very cool and fun. Brazil overrated. Salvador not the same. 2Y. I don't think Brazil's overrated at all, man. I'm here in Sao Paulo, and even though it's dating here is a damn headache, it seems like. I mean, even sitting outside during lunchtime, seeing all the beautiful women getting off work is just amazing, man. They're very attractive in Sao Paulo, Brazil in general. It has a lot to do with that mixing, if you ask me. Khalil sent $10 for Austin and Global Ceezy. Thank you for making this collab happen. Y'all have separate business models, but the travel journey remains constant. Thanks for the motivations with both of y'all's contents. Thank you very much for being a loyal supporter as well. I truly appreciate you.
Shout out.
So, what specific qualities or conditions make a country welcoming as a black man for you?
I would say friendliness. I would say people that respect their own culture. I would say people that are open to foreigners in general. I feel like at my age, that's a conducive environment for me. But I'm not just here to say like they need to roll out the red carpet just because I'm black. I really, I'm really an introvert. So, but I do appreciate that. Like growing up as an introvert, as a shy kid, I always appreciated when people kind of went out their way to make me feel comfortable. You know, I kind of appreciated when people went out the way to make me feel like accepted. So I feel like those are good environments for us as black men to where we know there's no animosity, we know there's no hate.
Would you ever do you ever feel like you would ever want to switch your race, or it's not
Never,
that bad?
never.
Okay, yeah,
I,
it's not that
I
bad then.
like being like I love being black. Like people might think I'm just like everything's about black for me. I feel like I'm the villain more than the victim. I feel like I'm breaking those stereotypes. I'm breaking that negative stigma. I'm not scared of anyone. I'm not, tucking my tail. I'm not running from like I show everybody respect. I show everybody that black men are stand up and confident guys.
Okay. Okay. So what is your viewpoint on America? What do you think of America?
Shit, I had this question for you as well, but I think America's a great place. I think it's a great. Shit, I don't really think America is something to just do away with. I don't think America is something to hate. I don't hate American women. I just feel like for me, I want to see more. I feel like for me, my story and my purpose has to be spread out more. That's all. Like, I'm not here to run from America. I do think coming from my city, I would say it's kind of black and white as far as what you can do and just the connections you can make because we come from a small city in Boston. But I think just the world has more to offer than America. That's it.
So I think America is good for certain things. Wait, so you like dating the American women?
When I'm in America, I don't really date women. Like I'm in a college crowd, so they the women ain't dateable. Like they in party mode and stuff like that. So I've never had that problem of women divorcing me and stuff like that.
Well,
And
let's say interacting with women, like interacting with women. Compare American women to Japanese women, let's say.
so interacting with American women, I've never really had problems. Like I'm a man who has respect for myself, so I've never been disrespected by women. But I wouldn't say I wouldn't really say I would say American women ain't looking for love, and I'm not looking for love either. So I can't really speak on that. But Japanese women, they're not really my type either. I don't really know. I have a lot to say about women, but like as far as dating and stuff like that and love, uh, I'm not really looking for that, so I can't really tell you the right answer. What are you looking for out of a woman?
Well, right now, since I'm traveling, I could say I'm on the same thing with you. Right now, I'm taking notes of every place I go to. I think after I'm done traveling, I have 3 or 4 countries I probably would stay at, and then I would be more open to an actual relationship because dating, constantly, especially going like coming from a place where I was doing just fine dating, and then coming here where it's completely different. All that constant readjusting and how cultures. I'm tired. I'm tired of that shit, especially when it doesn't work in my favor. And then it's like, okay, shit, this is kind of getting annoying. So let me say, would you rather date an American woman or a woman from another country?
I kind of like women from more. I just like women I can relate to. As to be honest, like being Caribbean American, I kind of relate to more down to earth women, or sometimes women from third world vibes or third world cultures. I just like cultured women in general. To be honest, I like cultured women, and sometimes American women just have social media culture. You know, I like women who come from cultural backgrounds. It
Okay.
makes the relationship more fun, and you can gain something out of it.
So you get you just want something different.
Yeah, I just want somebody who knows themselves.
Okay. Okay. Somebody said Austin is trying to get him to shit on American women the best he can. No, that's not what it is. So we got another super chat from the Millie Gang sent files with Ceezy is young but spiritually older. His eyes observe life first and participate second, it seems. Thank you for the super chat. He is doing a good job of observing things. So you think it's absolutely necessary for black men to research racial dynamics before they go somewhere?
Yeah, but I would say just have that in the back of your mind. Like my last video I made about Asian women. That was like, if you watch the video, you can see that at the beginning I said, "Do Asian women like black men?" No, but at the end, I kind of gave a synopsis of, okay, they do like us, but here are the details in the devil in the details. So I would say you do have to do your research and know what's going on, but I wouldn't tell anybody not to do something. I wouldn't tell nobody not to take that risk, not to jump off that bridge, you know?
You just
But I would
providing
say,
your experience.
yeah, I'm just providing some foreshadowing.
So let me ask you this: do you think your experiences that you had in Brazil, that I guess from what it sounds like you didn't really enjoy it, do you think that's just you, or do you think it's generally true?
I would say a little bit of both. I would say a little bit of both because it's easy to, I wouldn't say it's easy to ignore, but after a while I was ignoring it. But like in Salvador, for example, every day I go outside, I'm seeing poor black people. It kind of fucks with your head. But you could just literally leave that area. You can just literally just change what you look at, you know? But me being a solo traveler, being out there for that purpose, I came to Brazil for answers. I didn't come to Brazil just for the girls. I didn't just come to Brazil because it's warm. I went for the answers, answer my questions about what I knew about Brazil already, what I knew about racism already. I wanted to see it for myself and understand it. So that is my experience. Not everybody's looking for that. Not everybody's looking for the answers.
Well, it's poor black people in America. So what was the difference between those two?
In America,
Yeah, we have there's no shortage of poor blacks in America. Actually, we're at the bottom on the financial aspect in the states. So what about seeing black people in Brazil in poverty?
I wouldn't say uh, there's poor blacks in America like that. I would say a poor, what we call a poor black person, maybe from a low income neighborhood, is not a poor black person in Brazil. In Brazil, it's kind of an energy over there. Like it's kind of an energy of no hope for blacks. It's kind of an energy of like never escaping that favela life.
So you've
Like
seen
if
a
you,
different level of poverty.
yeah, like it's not about money. It was about like just the state that they're living in, and like just how isolated they are from the rest of the country in them favelas.
Okay. So do you think local law enforcement impacts the safety? Do you feel that law enforcement in Brazil is a threat to black men?
I never had any encounters with law enforcement. I don't think you'll have that in Brazil. You know, they ain't really worried about black foreigners.
So what support networks would you recommend for black men that are traveling abroad?
You can join Facebook groups, start a YouTube, start a platform. I would say I encourage everybody to do that, and I feel like that's the easiest way. And I feel like you don't need connections to start out in this world that we live in today. You just gotta show up and provide value, and the connections will come. But if you're a solo traveler, you don't really need anybody. But if you are looking for that community, I would say they have you, they have my Discord, they have all these communities available for us. Facebook, where there's other black men who think alike and are in these places. Every country I've gone to, I've met subscribers or followers. So it's out here. People are out here.
Any cultural misunderstandings that you had while you were in Brazil, like something that we as Americans would not perceive offensive, but they did?
Um, I wouldn't say I had any of those experiences that I can think of right now. I feel like they're pretty careful, pretty laid back out there, pretty laid back.
So do you speak Portuguese?
Uh, I, a little bit, a little bit. I speak Spanish, so constructing that Portuguese, mixing it in with the Spanish, you kind of learn it faster, and people kind of understand you, and you kind of just listen to what they're saying, and you incorporate it into your vocabulary. I kind of got by. Like when I went to Salvador, I spoke more Portuguese than when I first got there in Rio.
Okay. Okay. So do you think that added to your experience being negative?
Yeah, like I would say, I wouldn't say it added to the negativity. I would say just my overall experience changed once I started learning the language. Like I took a week and just studied it. I watched Brazilian movies, and I went to Salvador, and it was a whole different experience. You know, I could talk to people, I could talk to women. It was a different vibe.
Okay. Okay. So this experience you had in Brazil, how has it shaped your views on global black identity?
Uh, it kind of just repurposed me on what I first started out doing. When I first started my channel, I was in Europe explaining the black experience. I was in France meeting black people who told me like the black experience and stuff like that. And I realized, hold on, there's a lot of people in the world that don't even know black people exist in France. They don't know black people exist in Italy. They don't know black people exist in Brazil. Because I sure wasn't thinking about that when I think of these places. So I feel like these experiences need to be heard. You know, I feel like people need to understand what it's like in their shoes.
Last question I got for you, and I'm gonna give some callers a chance to talk to you. We're at the hour mark. WG sent $5 for shout out to Ceezy Virgo game. Thank you for the super chat. Khalil sent another $5 to Ceezy's point. The so-called black poverty in America is not the same poverty like Brazil, Colombia, or any third world country like Jamaica. I would agree. America has some of the most comfortable poverty. In Brazil, they have food stamps, but the locals I talked to said that the food stamps that they give them is not even enough to feed one person.